Hi. This video is about socialism. This is inspired by the videos that I'm only recently becoming aware of the very anti-socialist persuasion. I suspect the surge is due to Obama's use of the phrase spreading the wealth around. So I believe in socialism, and it seems to me that it's being used as sort of a catchword, a dirty word, if you will, that doesn't really have any meaning other than connotating something negative about whatever the person is speaking. So I wanted to take a few minutes to make a defense of socialism, kind of explain what my beliefs are. But before I begin, I'd like to make a few comments. My belief in socialism, and I want to say I wouldn't necessarily call myself a socialist, but I definitely am of the socialist persuasion. I do believe in democracy. I believe in a pure democracy, no electoral colleges, anybody can run for president, anybody has unlimited funds. Again, don't know how this would be possible, but in an ideal world, you know, anybody can become president if people like their ideas, and that person's elected by a popular vote. But I believe that the government, once elected by democracy, should practice more socialist policies. So just a bit of clarification there. So I'd like to bring up a few social issues that aren't being solved by our current system before I begin. Not being solved, unemployment. Not being solved, social mobility. Not being solved, our criminal justice system fiasco, which includes the highest crime rate in the industrialized world as well as the highest incarceration rate in the industrialized world, as well as our education system, our healthcare system. We're way behind in our energy policy. So, you know, oh, and not to mention the fact that we're being poisoned by the FDA. I know that sounds like a rash exaggeration and some kind of propaganda, but you know, it's really true. It's quite insidious. The corporate government, you know, bedfellows. Yeah, Monsanto, revolving door, Google it. Anyway, so my view of socialism is based on the problems I see in the world and my own personal interpretation. I'm a very analytical person of what would be the best solutions, and I believe that my ideas are very similar to the ideas of socialism. So, here's what I have to say. My belief in socialism is founded upon the apparent failure of this, our economic system, not only in its recent collapse, but its failure to promote the welfare of all people, the population in its plurality, as well as the state as a single entity. Consider this. What's the role of the state? A political state should be the manifest of a social contract in which individuals agree to abide by a certain set of agreed-upon morals or laws in exchange for the benefits available through civilization, namely security from threats that may be posed by anarchy, violence, hunger, illness, theft, etc. The individual sacrifices some of their individual sovereignty unto the state, and in turn the state must perform its duty. That is the basis of modern government. It is not the natural state of mankind. The natural state is characterized by fierce competition, wherein individuals strive against each other for a resource. This competition is what creates some of the dangers that we're trying to avoid. The advantage of being in a group lies in its members' ability to work together for the common good. Thus, it is strange that laissez-faire capitalism would be seen as a virtue in any society. Capitalism is competition, and in a competition there must always be those who excel and those who do not, those who survive and those who perish. Our current economic system has created a class war in which there are real casualties. For example, someone who has health insurance is more likely to survive an emergency room visit than someone who lacks coverage. In a recent study, the World Health Organization found physical fitness to be a function of income. The better paid, the more fit. Lower income peoples are less likely to go to college and more likely to go to prison. And the list of poverty's negative side effects goes on, as you can imagine. I'd like to take a minute just to clarify. While I am aware that socialism is very similar to communism, and in both socialist and communist quote, quote, societies, there have been high levels of poverty. So I'd like to take a minute to clarify the fact that what Marx envisioned as communism and what socialism is, very similar to, that's not what's been carried out. It's been a sort of, either a democratic socialist hybrid or a fascist government. So ideally, though, socialism and communism, for that matter, do not include a loser class, a lower class that is constantly poor, constantly suffering. Capitalism does. That's the paradigm that we're looking at here. So my question to ask you is, are you wanting to live in a society where there are always people suffering and, either you're one of those suffering people or you're one of those people that's doing better, while other people are suffering? And if you want to live in that kind of capitalist society, are you willing to accept the fact that your society does not promote you helping those less fortunate than you? It's a question I'd like you to consider, whatever your political persuasion may be. Anyway, to continue. As for the wealthy, their average income per capita over the last decade has seen an increase along with their company's gross profit increases. The interesting thing here is that the company's laborers' average wage per capita has decreased. Alan Greenspan recently proclaimed his revelation that our economy is patently flawed. The reason? Big business does not take its capital saved from taxes and boosted by deregulation and invest it in economic growth for the good of the American people. They simply pocket it. While I can certainly see the negative side effect of socialism for all those who might cry commie and point to everyone from Stalin to Jim Jones, how many centuries have we the underlings outside the proverbial beltway been oppressed by this capitalist economic rampaging? How have we made progress when our socio-economic structure still mirrors the feudal pyramid? This country was built by the poor, forced out onto the frontier trying to escape a tenant's life, by servants and by slaves. How many of our true forefathers, this way the people, suffered and died under this new American brand of tyranny, and how many still do today? Every time you take a deep, sweet breath of polluted air, or let the sun's rays kiss your face with carcinogenic light, or take a bite of that wholesome, delicious meal laced with toxic additives and cancer-causing GMOs, or take pride in a job well done at the office or the plant for which you are easily replaceable thanks to efficiency principles, you can thank capitalism.